Question. Following closely to a vehicle in front of you. Option number 1. Protects you in heavy traffic. Option number 2. Helps you see hazards in the road. Option number 3. Is a factor in collisions caused by motorcyclists. The answer is option number 3. Is a factor in collisions caused by motorcyclists. Note: following too closely, tailgating could be a factor in collisions involving motorcyclists. In traffic, motorcycles need as much distance to stop as other vehicles. Normally, you should maintain a 2-second following distance. Question. Riding in the center portion of the lane. Option number 1. Should be avoided if possible. Option number 2. Keeps other drivers from seeing you. Option number 3. Keeps others from sharing your lane. The answer is option number 3. Keeps others from sharing your lane. Note: if vehicles are on both sides of you, the center of the lane, path 2 in the figure, is usually the best option. Riding closer to the center portion of your lane helps to keep other vehicles from sharing the lane. Question. To create more space in the situation pictured below, you should. Option number 1. Pass the car on your left. Option number 2. Ride in the right portion of the lane. Option number 3. Adjust your speed and stay in the center of the lane. The answer is option number 3. Adjust your speed and stay in the center of the lane. Note: drivers on an entrance ramp may not see you on the highway. Give them plenty of room. Change to another lane if one is open. If there is no room for a lane change, adjust your speed to open up space for the merging driver and stay near the center of your lane. Question. While in a turn, it is best to. Option number 1. Maintain a steady speed or gradually accelerate. Option number 2. Slow down. Option number 3. Accelerate and look straight ahead. The answer is option number 1. Maintain a steady speed or gradually accelerate. Note: maintain steady speed or accelerate gradually through the turn. This will help keep the motorcycle stable. Question. To operate the throttle. Option number 1. Start with your wrist flat. Option number 2. Sit forward with beam straight. Option number 3. Twist it forward and down for more power. The answer is option number 1. Start with your wrist flat. Note: hold the handle grip firmly. Start with your right wrist flat so you will not accidentally use too much throttle. Question. Make a special point to use your mirrors when. Option number 1. Riding through an intersection. Option number 2. Following a vehicle. Option number 3. Slowing or stopping. The answer is option number 3. Slowing or stopping. Note: frequent mirror checks should be part of your normal searching routine. Make a special point of using your mirrors. When you are stopped at an intersection, before you change lanes, before you slow down. Question. When the front tire goes flat while riding? Option number 1. Apply the rear brake and steer to the edge of the road. Option number 2. Steer to the right and apply both brakes. Option number 3. You will not be able to control the motorcycle. The answer is option number 1. Apply the rear brake and steer to the edge of the road. Note: if front tire goes flat while riding, hold the handle grips firmly, ease off the throttle and keep a straight course. Gradually apply the brake on the rear tire. When the motorcycle slows right to the side of the road, squeeze the clutch and stop. Question. When riding with a passenger, you should: Option number 1. Start slowing sooner. Option number 2. Use only your front brake to slow. Option number 3. Start in the center portion of the lane. The answer is option number 1. Start slowing sooner. Note: your motorcycle will respond more slowly with a passenger. The heavier your passenger, the longer it will take to slow down, stop, and speed up. Begin slowing sooner as you approach a stop. Question. Vehicle or motorcycle collisions are most common? Option number 1. At intersections. Option number 2. On freeways. Option number 3. At night. The answer is option number 1. At intersections. Note: the greatest potential for conflict and a chance of collision between you and other traffic is at intersections. Over one half of motorcycle or passenger vehicle collisions are caused by drivers entering a rider's right of way at an intersection. Question. When swerving, it is important to: Option number 1. Always brake before swerving. Option number 2. Swerve in the direction of the hazard. Option number 3. Separate braking from swerving. The answer is option number 3. Separate braking from swerving. Note: swerving means turning quickly. A swerve is a sudden change in direction. It can be 2 quick turns or a rapid shift to the side. If braking is required, separate it from swerving. Brake before or after, never while swerving. Question. Not turning off a turning signal. Option number 1. Encourages other drivers to pull into your path. Option number 2. Keeps other drivers from seeing your brake light. Option number 3. Reduces your chances of a collision because other drivers stay clear. The answer is option number 1. Encourages other drivers to pull into your path. Note: once you complete your turn, be sure to turn signals off, or a driver may pull directly into your path, thinking you plan to turn again. Question. Before changing lanes to the left? Option number 1. Check your left mirror and look to the left. Option number 2. Check the right mirror and turn your head to the left. Option number 3. Use your horn and speed up. The answer is option number 1. Check your left mirror and look to the left. Note: before you change lanes, Make sure no one is about to pass you. Check the mirror and turn your head to check over your shoulder on the side of the lane you want to move into. Question. In the picture below, the car driver is preparing to enter the intersection. To be seen and maintain a space cushion, you should. Option number 1. Slow down and move away from the vehicle after entering the intersection. Option number 2. Slow down and move close to the curb so the driver can see you better. Option number 3. Speed up to get through the intersection quickly and then move left. The answer is option number 1. Slow down and move away from the vehicle after entering the intersection. Note: reduce your speed as you approach an intersection. After entering the intersection, move away from the vehicles preparing to turn. Do not change speed or position radically. The driver might think you are preparing to turn. Question. To reduce speed before turning. Option number 1. Close the throttle and apply both brakes. Option number 2. Pull in the clutch and use both brakes. Option number 3. Apply the rear brake only. The answer is option number 1. Close the throttle and apply both brakes. Note: for better control at turning, reduce your speed before the turn by rolling off the throttle and, if necessary, apply both brakes. Question. Most collisions involve riders who. Option number 1. Overbrake the rear tire. Option number 2. Underbrake the rear tire. Option number 3. Were experienced riders. The answer is option number 1. Overbrake the rear tire. Note: most collisions involve riders who underbrake the front tire and overbrake the rear, did not separate braking from swerving, or did not choose to swerve when it was appropriate. Question. Encourage other drivers from sharing your lane. It is usually best side. Option number 1. In the left portion of your lane. Option number 3. In the center portion of a lane. Option number 3. Next to another vehicle. The answer is option number 2. The center portion of a lane. Note: if the traffic situation allows, the center lane position is usually the best place for you to be seen by the driver in his or her rear view mirror and to prevent other vehicles from sharing a lane. Question. Alcohol enters the bloodstream and quickly reaches the brain. Which of the following is affected first? Option number 1. Speech. Option number 2. Balance. Option number 3. Judgment. The answer is option number 3. Judgment. Note: alcohol affects your ability to think clearly and to ride safely. It hampers riders' ability to pay attention to their riding environment while operating the motorcycle, identifying potential hazards, making good judgments, and executing decisions quickly and skillfully. Question. Your motorcycle has 2 brakes. Use both brakes. Option number 1. Only for normal stops. Option number 2. Only for emergency stops. Option number 3. Every time you slow or stop. The answer is option number 3. Every time you slow or stop. Note: when making a normal non-emergency stop, use both brakes at the same time and downshift. The front brake has more stopping power. The front brake is safe to use when used properly. Question. When you turn. Option number 1. Keep your head and eyes straight to maintain balance. Option number 2. Look through the turn to where you want to go. Option number 3. Always lean at the same angle as the motorcycle. The answer is option number 2. Look through the turn to where you want to go. Note: maintain steady speed or accelerate gradually through the turn. This will help keep the motorcycle stable. Look through the turn to where you want to go. Turn only your head, not your shoulders, and keep your eyes level with the horizon. Question: wearing a helmet will? Option number 1. Increase your chances of a head injury. Option number 2. Reduce your chances of a head injury. Option number 3. Neither reduce nor increase your chances of a head injury. The answer is option number 2. Reduce your chances of a head injury. Note: in a collision regardless of speed, if you are wearing a US.com plain motorcycle safety helmet, you are 3 times more likely to survive a head injury than if you are not wearing a US.com plain motorcycle safety helmet. Question: in slow, tight turns? Option number 1. Lean the motorcycle only and keep your body straight. Option number 2. Lean your body more than the motorcycle. Option number 3. Do not lean. The answer is option number 1. Lean the motorcycle only and keep your body straight. Note: in normal turns, the rider and the motorcycle should lean together at the same angle. In slow, tight turns, the rider should keep his or her body straight and only lean the motorcycle. Question: which one of the following statements is correct? Option number 1. Press left, lean right, and go right. Option number 2. Press left, lean left, go right. Option number 3. Press left, lean left, go left. The answer is option number 3. Press left, lean left, go left. Note: to turn, the motorcycle must lean. To lean the motorcycle, press on the handle grip in the direction of the turn. Press left, lean left, go left. Press right, lean right, go right. Higher speeds and or tighter turns require the motorcycle to lean more. Question: in the picture below, riders A, B and C are riding as a group. To pass, rider B should: option number 1. Complete the pass in front of rider A. Option number 2. Return to the lane and ride next to rider A. Option number 3. Return to the right portion of the lane behind rider A. The answer is option number 3. Return to the right portion of the lane behind rider A. Note: riders in a staggered formation should pass one at a time. After the first rider passes safely, the second rider moves up to the left portion of the lane and watches for a safe chance to pass. After passing, this rider returns to the right portion of the lane and opens up room for the next rider. Question: to make good judgments in traffic, you need to first: option number 1. Know how to stop quickly. Option number 2. Be able to swerve. Option number 3. Search ahead. The answer is option number 3. Search ahead. Note: experienced motorcycle riders improve their riding strategy by using C, a 3-step process for making appropriate judgments and applying them correctly in different traffic situations. C stands for search, evaluate, and execute. Question: when carrying loads? Option number 1. Keep the load low and as far forward as possible. Option number 2. Keep the load to the rear of the motorcycle. Option number 3. Fasten the load against the frame on the back of the seat. The answer is option number 1. Keep the load low and as far forward as possible. Note: most motorcycles are not designed to carry much cargo. Small loads can be carried safely if the load is kept in low position and fastened properly by placing the load over or in front of the rear axle. Mounting a load behind the rear axle affects how the motorcycle turns and brakes.